So I hope you enjoyed the bike ride. The reason I wanted to show this video is because when I show the impact of events, it's events like Cycle Oregon, RAGBRAI, Ride of the Rockies, and other events that really generate a huge amount of money in the marketplace. But I want you to think about the number of them that are happening almost every day. And they start early. I'm leaving from this to go to Puerto Rico for the National Bicycle Tour Directors. We're meeting there there's rides that start in Puerto Rico in February. So these rides are going on all the time. So this is what I'm going to show you is a pilot study that was done, sanctioned by the NBTDA, and Elliot Gluskin of Gluskin and Townley is in the audience, and Gluskin and Townley is the organization that conducted this study for the National Bicycle Tour Directors. Oops. Oh, here we go. It's the space for the video. All right. So Elliot, thank you for conducting this study for us. And I'm not going to go into the methodology and all the metrics of the study, because I think if you want to ask about that, Elliot's here to answer it. I'm going to go over the numbers with you. So a little bit, the overview is the background. Who is the consumer? The ride participation. Travel is going to be in there because, as Kristen just showed you, there's a tremendous amount of money spent on travel. The economic impact. Why is this important? And what comes next? And we'll have probably no time for Q&A. It's a collaborative effort, and I want to say it's a collaborative effort in this respect. This survey was vetted by Bikes Belong. It was vetted by the League, and it was also vetted by Portland State University. So we sent it out there. What we do know, though, is when you put out a survey like this, you've got to shorten it. And we learned a valuable lesson. There were a number of questions in this that became a little difficult for people to fill out. So the data is good, but shorten your surveys as much as you can. You'll see these demographics match up with other things that you've seen on the screen. 63% male, 37% female. The age category is worrisome to all ride directors. You'll see that the average age is 53.7. This is the good news. Household income, 75% are above $100,000. Average household income is $130,000. 33% of the people have children in the household. We have to get more, rides have to do things that are going to bring more women and minorities into these rides. This is where people came from. 11 rides participated in this survey. There were 11 ride directors and 11 rides. And this is where the riders came from. I did a little overlap here with the obesity chart. And I don't know if it's going to come up very well. And I really don't want to draw any conclusions from this at this point. But the keynote for you, if you're looking at obesity, is look at Japan. Japan has an average of 3.9% obesity. We're at 27.4%. But we do find, if I look at this chart, that there are some areas where we're not getting very many cyclists where the obesity rate is much higher. Okay, but the profile of these people, and this information a lot of you are going to already know, but 91% of these people ride 2+ times per week. On average, they own 2.8 personal bicycles. The reasons for riding in this survey were 95% fitness, 93% fun, 76% organized cycling events, and 70% social. This one I think is really important, and it's one that I use on the state level, and I'm sure we're going to use it tomorrow when we go on the Hill. Motivation for spending more time riding your bicycle. Safer roads, wider, better maintained shoulders, more bike lanes, more free time, more designated bike routes, more considerate drivers, more bike trails, and better places to ride. If I look at this one, every one of those except more free time is infrastructure related. We've got to have a better infrastructure if we're going to get more people riding bikes. I put this one up here because this is important for ride directors. We know that if somebody comes on an organized ride, they spend about 11% more per year on their bicycle-related purchases than if they don't go on a bike ride. So this is more for the ride directors, but more events will create more spending. This one is really important. 80% of the people who participate in cycling events participate as a group. We know it's tribal. If it's not tribal, I can guarantee you if somebody comes on a bike ride by themselves, by the end of the week or the end of the day, they've hooked up. The economic impact of these events, I'm going to talk about the direct impact, and then I'll talk a little bit about the multiple. The direct impact is what I'm going to talk about on these 11 events. The indirect impact, as you all know, is the multiple from the direct. So we're going to cover direct impact, the cycling related, that's basically signing up for the events, bicycle shipping expenses, travel expenses, personal expenses at the ride, and group support expenditures at the ride. What that last one means is that if people come on a ride, sometimes they'll bring their significant other, they'll come in a motorhome, there's money spent in people supporting the riders. So this slide was already shown, but I'm going to go over it again. So of these 11 rides, $14.5 million was spent just signing up for them. Bike shipping, as you can see, and how many of you ship your bikes when you go places? You know it's gotten pretty expensive. So $500,000 was spent shipping the bikes just to these 11 rides. Travel to and from these 11 rides was over $9 million. Personal spending at the event was over $6 million. Support spending at the event, that's the people that come to support the riders, was over $2 million. 11 bike rides had a direct impact of $32.5 million. Why is this important? I can tell you it's important for a number of reasons. From my perspective, we use it for how we plan an event. On the bigger scale, it really, data influences policy decisions. And we have got to get better data when we come to DC. We've got to have better data on the state level. So the information that's been presented here this morning is going to be very valuable for us as we go forward. But we use it on a state level, we use it on a regional level, we use it for when we go in to get permits, we explain what our economic impact is. Bicycling is big business. Next steps, the NBTDA, and that's a mouthful, we now call ourselves the Bicycle Tour Network. 50%, we want 50% of our members to participate in this research, and the good news is we're working with the league to collect this data so it'll be available on a national level. And I don't know if you want to say just a couple quick things.
I'll mention that is true. We're doing it. We're getting the numbers out, so we're beginning to look at them. They pretty much reinforce, preliminarily what Jerry's mentioned in terms of household income and spending. So we'll iron out those numbers.
Yeah, we will. Because we did our current research, but I don't have those numbers to give you. Okay, many of you have seen this study. I'm just going to, this is the takeaway. This is what I'm going to take up to the Hill tomorrow, because 3 years ago you were here, you remember that the ambassador from the Netherlands said that for every mile ridden on a bicycle we save $1 in healthcare costs. So the Outdoor Industry of America did this economic research study. This is the outdoor industry, this is the outdoor activities, and we are a big part of this. The outdoor, the benefits, economic benefits, are 6.1 million jobs, $646 billion the outdoor recreation economy creates in the U.S., and $80 million in federal and state taxes. If you look at the overlook of the economic giant, pharmaceuticals, motor vehicles, financial services, and outpatient healthcare exceed outdoor recreation, but you can see cycling is part of this, and I'll show you that number in a second. But the outdoor industry, which we are a part of, we have to start talking about the larger picture. Job comparison, as you see all of these up here on the screen: real estate, oil and gas, information, education, transportation, construction, finance. The outdoor industry employs 6.1 million people. The outdoor recreation economy grew approximately 5% annually between 2005 and 2011, this during an economic recession when many sectors were contracting. The outdoor recreation strengthens local communities. Again, $80 billion are spent in national and state local taxes each year. This is one that's really important. If you look at what this aggregate is for this $646 million, you see bicycling, camping, fishing, hunting, motorcycling, off-road, snow sports, travel, water sports. You can see there's only two up there that exceed bicycling. That would be camping and water sports. Bicycling contributes $81 billion to the U.S. economy. That's pretty amazing. So that study is available to you to use, and the research is available. And I just want to make a couple other comments. This is from that study. For every dollar spent on gear and equipment, this is something that the travel industry knows. For every dollar spent, you spend $4 to $7 using that equipment. So that multiplier is really important in the big picture. And I think when we're up on the Hill tomorrow, preserving access to outdoor recreation opportunities, protect the economy, the businesses, the communities, and the people who depend on the ability to play outside. So thank you, and I hope you have a great day on the Hill tomorrow.